Hello everyone, Jeff with the Green Review. Today we're going to talk about planting tulips, daffodils, and a few other spring flowering bulbs. Tulips come from Middle Eastern mountainous areas and some areas in Europe. Daffodils come from Northern Europe, and other bulbs come from a lot of other places around the world. But one of the things that they all have in common for spring blooming bulbs is they need a cold dormancy period. The tulips growing in the mountainous regions actually grow in rocky and sandy soil. So we actually a lot of times kill them with kindness by planting them in nice black topsoil and adding compost. They don't like the extra moisture, especially in the summertime when they're dormant. This particular spot right here does have a lot of gravel in it, so I'm hoping that some of these tulips will last longer. A lot of times tulips in North America are short-lived, maybe a couple of years, 3 or 4 years at the most, and have to be replanted on a regular basis. Daffodils, grape, hyacinths, and some of the other spring flowering bulbs last much longer and do much better because they're coming from areas that have similar soils and similar climates to what we have. So today what we're planting, we have some purple tulips, the purple flag triumphs tulips, and we have some Mystic Van Egypt, I don't know how to pronounce it for sure, Darwin pink tulips. And the tulip package says that these bulbs need to be planted about 4 inches apart and 6 inches deep. So we've dug our hole already so that we are at the 6-inch level here, and it's wide enough that we can get 3 spaced across, 1 on the edge, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the far side. So all it takes to do is to stick them in the corner, stick them in the middle, and stick them in the other corner. And we now have those 3. It's nice to plant them in a pattern where they're kind of a zigzag, so that we have 3 there, and then we'll put these next 2 kind of in the middle between those, and then we'll put 3 again, so we 3, 2, and 3. And we have a tulip here that's very dried out and not very good, so that one we will have to get rid of. So now we plant the next ones here and here, then the next 3 go across here, back into the middle, and back onto the far side. So we have 8 of the purple flags, and now we can start with the Van Egypt, or however you pronounce this name. 2, and then 3, and then 2, and 3. Now you can plant tulips singly, one at a time, in just straight down holes that are 6 inches deep. That's a lot harder to do than to dig an entire area out like this so you can space them out properly. Now one of the things that a lot of times happens is in the fall, when these bulbs are dormant because they've bloomed in the spring, they've had their leaves die back in the summertime, and now there's nothing above ground, is we don't know where they're at. We lose track. So sometimes we want to plant something new and we start digging a hole, and then we find tulips in the ground, or daffodils. But we have grape hyacinths to help us solve this problem. Grape hyacinths are small little bulbs, and they need to be planted about 3 inches apart and 3 or 4 inches deep. And what they do is they send up leaves in the fall, so they have these grass-like leaves growing in the area where they're planted. So if we put them around this little tulip area, we will know that this area is tulips. So this is too deep for them though. So we're going to we're going to pour the soil loosely back over these bulbs so that we don't knock them out of place. Keep them in our proper lines here. Okay. And now spread this out. check our depth here. And we're at about 3.5 inches. That's pretty good. So we can now plant these grape hyacinths along the way. We can plant them in a group. We can plant them along the outer edge. In this case, I think I'm just going to stay towards the outer edge. Actually, I don't want one in that corner because that's where my tulip was. And plant them here. So now, by having these things spread around the edges here, in the spring, they will bloom with nice, pretty flowers. And in the fall, when they send up leaves again, I'll know where these tulips are planted. So this is a very nice flower. It does beauty. It has pretty flowers in the spring, and it does a little bit of work for us here in the fall. There. Now those are planted. And now it's time to add the rest of the soil on top. And there we go. Now we can water this in a little bit. The rain is coming, so we don't have to do that probably this time. And then we have our mulch we can spread back across the surface. And that's all it takes to planting tulips and daffodils into spring bulbs. Just put them at the proper depth, and now we wait. Well, as you can see in the spring here, the pink tulips are blooming a few weeks earlier than the purple tulips. And that's okay. And if I had known that, instead of having two separate groups, I would have intermixed them so that as this group disappeared, then this group would be blooming. But this will work just as well for the location that they're in right now. And you can see the grape hyacinths starting to bloom all the way around the edge with their grass-like foliage. And so in the fall, that grass-like foliage will come back up again, and we'll be able to see that there's a planting area here of the tulips. And this is Jeff for The Green Review. Thanks for watching.